We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it very tempting.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my The Bad Batch Season 3 official trailer breakdown video and review. We are going to be going over a number of different things that might have been missed throughout the trailer, and for another, what we're anticipating to see with the overall show with its third and final season. We, of course, are going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Before we do, though, however, grab that subscribe button and join us here on the channel today as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, of course. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so there's already a number of different things, even a bit of confusion of what's going on with The Bad Batch Season 3, given its new trailer. I also recently just put out like an initial thoughts and reaction video, actually, to The Bad Batch Season 3 trailer, so also check that video out as well. And as you guys can also probably see right now on the screen, I'm playing through a couple of the main stills, like those main takeaways, those like aha or like OMG moments that we really saw throughout the Season 3 trailer, character appearances and confirmations for their roles and actual appearances in the third season of the show. Fennec Shan, Cad Bane, Commander Cody all making a return once again. Nala Se as well, who is the Kaminoan that has like this attachment to Omega, kind of like the creator, or almost like this mother-like figure of the Bad Batch and Omega specifically and especially. Okay, so let's start with the big one. Ventress and her big return, finally back into a galaxy far, far away. This is totally unanticipated and unexpected because of the fact of the Dark Disciple novel. Now, this is something that honestly does deserve its own separate video here on the channel because there's that much more detail and depth that we can actually talk about it, and I honestly love the Dark Disciple novel. It was honestly, recalling back almost 5 years ago, it was one of our first videos here on the channel, is like an overview of the Dark Disciple novel. So I really think that shows of how much I love that and this overall character, Ventress and Quinlan Vos even there as well, having that possible potential to even also make an appearance down the line here, even in the Bad Batch Season 3 as well. The Dark Disciple book and novel is still a part of canon, despite having Ventress appear later down the timeline now here in the Bad Batch Season 3. And for those of you that don't know, the Dark Disciple novel actually showcases the supposed death of Ventress. So pretty much essentially what happened in the Dark Disciple novel that led to the death of Ventress is that this takes place roughly right overlapping essentially with the Clone Wars Season 7, right before the events of Anakin and Obi-Wan going off to the Battle of Coruscant, pretty much right before the events of the Battle of Coruscant that we see in Clone Wars Season 7 and also in Revenge of the Sith. That's where, you know, Dooku goes off and he's on General Grievous's ship there at the beginning of the movie, and they're holding Palpatine like hostage, essentially like a showcasing essentially to lure Anakin closer to the dark side of the Force essentially. So before that happens though, however, there is this duel that happens between Dooku, Quinlan Vos, and Ventress, of where Quinlan Vos and Ventress team up to try to take down Dooku, and Dooku sends a lightning bolt with this Force powers towards Quinlan Vos, and that's where Ventress jumps in front of him, and the lightning bolt essentially takes a bullet for him, like honestly, and is able to save Quinlan Vos, who we would presumably see somewhere down the road of what we would anticipate and actually expect to see. That's like a big maybe that we could see with the Bad Batch Season 3, or even in other Star Wars media, like the Jedi Survivor games, I think is a very aha moment of where they're able to display that. A possible potential Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 as well is something that has heavy references to Quinlan Vos and him and his organization of like the path and everything that we see in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So we definitely do know that he's somewhere out there still floating around, possibly potentially like helping organize the rebellion and everything. So it appears that Ventress survives that whole encounter with Dooku, and you would honestly kind of hope that she would have actually, because in Attack of the Clones, Dooku does the same thing to both Anakin and Obi-Wan, sending lightning bolts towards both of them, and they survive it. You know, so it's kind of like, why wouldn't she be able to do the same? And we finally see that she did actually do this. She survives it, and that we're going to see her down the timeline here as well. Now, also take into account that her lightsabers in the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer are actually yellow. Like, she's more redeemed and isn't necessarily a part of the dark side of the Force, or maybe a dark side Force user, essentially. Like, she's coming back to the light side of the Force, because that's initially how she started out, like many other Force users, is with being a Jedi or using the light side of the Force. So we're seeing that kind of reconnect, essentially, and have her reunite with the Jedi ways on some type of level, possibly, presumably, for the Bad Batch Season 3. And even outside of that, I think that she has heavy possible potentials to show up in other, like, you know, shows, projects, movies, even later down the Star Wars timeline. Like, one prime example, as I had just mentioned, would have to be the Jedi Survivor games with Cal Kestis. If not there, maybe a possible potential Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. If not there, even further, like in the Ahsoka show or a part of the Mandoverse. Those are all theories, and we'll have to see what actually happens with her character in the Bad Batch Season 3. And as I had also mentioned, I think that this is something that deserves a lot more detail and a lot more depth, so I'll cover that in a separate future video here on the channel. One other big noticeable thing that we seem to have saw in the trailer for the Bad Batch Season 3 is that there seems to be some type of short time jump. Nothing of like years, but really just a couple of months. We see that in the voiceover. One of the clones mentions that it's been a while since they've seen Omega, like she's been away for some time, and that it is time to get back to the mission. So they've let some time pass, very similar to what they did with in between Season 1 and Season 2. This seems that they're doing the same for Season 2 and Season 3, is giving it a bit of a buffer, a bit of a time jump there by a couple of months. On another note, aside of that, it seems that Palpatine is maybe, fingers crossed, going to play a bigger, badder role, essentially, in the Bad Batch Season 3. He even has some dialogue in the trailer this time around, so many fans are kind of speculating that he is going to play a bigger role in the politics sides of things, for one, but then also for another, like, actually, like, bringing out the big guns. And by big guns, I mean bringing out Inquisitors, or even Darth Vader himself, sending Darth Vader on these, like, a couple of missions to take out some of those rebel pockets, like trying to take out the Bad Batch before he starts sending them out on bigger missions, like trying to take out remaining Jedi, essentially, almost like target practice in a way, I think is something that we could see with the Bad Batch ending up doing in the Season 3. It's probably not going to end well given that for the Bad Batch, but I nonetheless think it would be an incredibly insane way to go out and even actually see in animation. That brings me to another idea that I just brought up. The clones seem to be forming more of a rebel pocket. This is something that's more seen throughout the original trilogy, more specifically with the Rebels animated show, or even the Andor show, I think, does this a little bit more with Saw Gerrera and Luthen. They have like these rebel pockets. Like, they're not really talking or communicating though to one another all that much, but they're still classified at kind of going up and against the Empire. It seems that the Bad Batch are joining the rest of the clones that are kind of defecting, so like Captain Rex or Commander Cody, and kind of going off and rising against the Empire a little bit more. And as I had also mentioned at the beginning of this video, we see Fennec Shan, Cad Bane, and Cody, now let's say, all making their appearances in the trailer, confirming that they're going to be popping up against in the Season 3 of the Bad Batch. As we also all know, the Bad Batch is going to finally arrive on February 21st. That's the new Valentine's Day, is what everybody's joking around with, because it's a week away from that holiday. So it's the new Valentine's, essentially, is what a lot of people have been joking around about. Anyway, it seems like we're getting a 3-episode premiere on February 21st with the Bad Batch. Each episode roughly around 20 minutes long, so an hour's worth of new Bad Batch on February 21st. We're in for it. We're going to be discussing and covering that here on the channel as well, with our initial thoughts video / reaction video, and then also having a full-on breakdown video, Easter eggs and things that you might have missed throughout those episodes here on the channel. We're going to continue to keep you guys updated with not just that, but also all types of other Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Guys, this here all being said, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.